So it's the 30th, sometime in the afternoon, and I figured now that I got the light, might as well show you. This motherfucker just does not want to cooperate. This guy needs a good 150 pounds of weight. So if you could step like right there so I can get this fucker back up top, that'd be great. And then we can move this thing. No, right here because it's going right there. I need to see where you're. Right here. I'm going right there. Put you in. Almost. And we're there. Thank you, Mikey. Yeah, I got the half shafts off, and I'm so glad I did, because chances are this job would have been hellacious had I not. So, it's Saturday the 14th. It is 9 at night. Alright, didn't turn that one on. And I got footage yet to spare. Wow, it's actually warmer in there. If I can just turn that on, and then that. Can't see shit because, well, it's pitch black where I was looking. Just have to throw that light back on. So, here's where we stand. I'm still short money. That kind of got darker out here, didn't it? Engine stand is in fact for sale. Is there a way to turn on a... So I'm gonna try this again. Maybe we'll have better luck with the light. Yeah, that seems to work better. So that engine stand is now for sale. It's Saturday the 14th January. It's 9 at night, and it's wet out. Great. The benefits of not wearing shoes, ladies and gentlemen. Motor, I forget when the last video was made. You guys probably remember by the time I post that video. But it's actually not that cold out. Ooh, moon's up. Pretty moon. See, is there a zoom? Ooh, zoom effect. It's so pretty. Wow, it's got a 4-time optical zoom. Now, here's where I stand. In fact, let's just zoom in on that right there. You see that cable? Cable I'm pulling on right there. That is the clutch cable. That, unfortunately, needs to get removed before I can go any further. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do that. I mean, yeah, I could probably drop the cross mount, but before I do that, I gotta pull that off, which, oh. Yeah, don't want to mar up that filter. Here's the thing. People ask me why I'm doing this. Well, I probably explained it before, but I'll explain it again. This car's drivetrain configuration, as far as I know, is unique to the United States only. That means that I've seen pictures of guys who have taken this particular station wagon and kept it in a near stock format. There's entire forums and sites dedicated to keeping these in working order. The problem is, mine isn't working right. I'm finding parts for a 30-year-old station wagon that only had this driveline configuration for a few years is a fucking bitch and a half. To my knowledge, this particular model Tercel, the second generation, started in 1983 and went on into 1987. before being discontinued and switching over to the 3rd gen, which was just a sedan and hatchback. After that point, Toyota switched the name to the Echo and called it a day. And then that car got turned into the Yaris, yada yada yada. But I digress. The motor, this motor right here, absolutely not a single problem with it. Runs fine. But the transmission, I cannot say the same. Again, this country only got this driveline for a few years back in the 80s. People who have these cars have bought a couple of them for spare parts because finding replacements is a fucking nightmare. There was no automatic for this. It's 4-wheel drive and it's front-wheel drive primary biased, which means this car, it's really hard to find transmission parts. I'm sure I've stated before that the stick doesn't want to work, and I've currently got it disengaged. See, I didn't bring my flashlight out here, but that's the shit. Well, here, let me just take the whole thing out because you can't see dick all in there. Hold on. Oh, that is positioned correctly. So, see that shift knob? 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, reverse, and extra low over here. Now, if I do this, this is what the transmission's doing. And in case you're wondering, that's the style of shift mechanism. It's a piston pinion, which means there's a cup that end sits in and does one of those and does one of those, shifting the forks around. You got 1st, extra low and 4-wheel drive, which is the only way it works. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, but no 5th, no reverse. 5th's not that big of a deal compared to reverse. Both are equally important, especially if I want to do any kind of long distance travel. But just any kind of travel really is complicated by the lack of a reverse. So, because finding parts for this is going to be a fucking pain in the ass, and if I could have it rebuilt, it would still probably run me a fortune, or I run the risk of using a junkyard core, which I'm already doing with that motor. It means that I'm put in a situation where I'm forced to decide, do I go junkyard hopping around the country or do I go junkyard hopping near me? Because the chances of me finding this exact model is nightmarishly high, like 30,000 to 1. I don't know the production numbers, how many cars were actually brought to the US over this generation of cars lifespan, but I do know that it's probably under 1 million, probably less than that. If there's any Toyota experts watching this, please let me know, and I'd love to know. But I digress. The car is where it should be now. That wheel's back on, and so is that one. You can barely see it there. God, that's so dark. But both the front wheels are back on. The video, one of the previous videos, it cut out because I ran out of internal memory for this thing as I was trying to put the lower control arm back on. I know that when I do get this thing built, when being the key word, I will get this built eventually. Again, it's going to be a long process. That it's going to need an alignment. And without a doubt, a set of tires. Fuck, if I could have my druthers, I'd keep the stock rims, but I would get them resized to a larger diameter, if possible. Or at the very least, a more common size. Because I think that's going to be my biggest problem. Those are 14-inch tires. Those are 14-inch rims. Those are puny, which is one of the secrets of the car. It wasn't really ever intended to go fast. Kind of defeats the purpose of four-wheel drive, but I'll save that discussion for another time. My big concern, the relays. That's where the relays are in this car. Now, I don't have a problem dealing around with old school wires for like this. My worry is that I'm gonna have to completely redo most of the engine bay wiring, not because of the sensors, like you're running out of coolant, or you're running out of washer, or you're running too big of a pressure in the crankcase. That stuff I can do no problem. My fear is that because that's an electronically controlled carburetor, yeah, let's roll with that, carburetor, that this here won't work with that motor. The venerable 239, the V6 based on the 318. I salute you. You will run again. Broken everything free, and for the moment, that's all I can do is free up the motor. I don't have the finances to build it, nor do I have the finances to really set everything else. My main objective right now is to get a manual transmission for that motor, flywheel, clutch pack, shifter, the whole shebang, everything from the flywheel to the output shaft, everything in between those 2 points. That way I can actually start this under its own power for a little bit. Then I can find out what noises are there, because for all I know, for instance, there could be something wrong with the valves. The valves could be sticking. You could be hearing the classic trademark of sticky valves or sticky valve mechanics, which is something you never want to deal with. Or I could finally figure out if there's a problem with the donor transmission they're going to be joining. I will not be using that automatic, in case you're wondering. Incidentally, that is for sale. That is an A518 to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong. The torque converter had a starter track welded straight to it, and I was not all that pleased about that. And one of the main reasons I'm not using it is because I can't find the fucking bolts that mount this torque converter to the flex plate, which takes up the place of the flywheel normally. If you were to buy, say, from Summit, an aftermarket torque converter for this particular motor, you would get one with the gear track welded to it, or you're going to have to order a flywheel with it, which, if you ask me, would just be smarter, because then you could just leave the flywheel with it and order the clutch pack to a manual transmission or a different torque converter that's got a better stall speed for an automatic. So that's my thoughts on the thing. I'm debating whether or not to work on the underside and drop the cross mount, because why not? But it's still kind of up in the air about that at this point. So we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. In the meantime, I've been Rockthevox. This has been a sort of sleeper wagon video, sort of vloggity vlog. In the meantime, I'll see you in the doobly-doos and the comment section below. Peace out. So today is tomorrow, and I figured I'd do a little drive cam, seeing as I got a tripod. Hopefully the thing doesn't fall off the dads as I'm rolling down the hill, because, you know, kind of steep. Holding. Alright, sweet. So we're heading to O'Reilly's. Motherfucker. And we're gonna pick up the plastigage that I ordered the other day. I don't know how well you can see me as I'm driving, and I might be doing more of these drive cams just as a vloggity vlog type of deal, because I kind of like driving, because, you know, gearhead, and it gives me something to do while I chat, because, you know, sometimes you just talk to yourself and then you rant off, But yeah, so I'll see you in a bit. So we're just now coming into O'Reilly's. Oh hey, look, we got a riced up box body. I think that's what's his name? I'll check in a sec. I didn't see his Firebird around here, but I'm assuming he's here. If not, well, we'll find out, won't we? Hopefully I got enough footage left in this thing. Hey, I was right. That is your box body.
I don't have this set here though. Either way.
Speaking of orders, plastigage come in for me.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. That's your box body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whose box body is that?
His name is Lawrence, the old guy. Ah, that Mustang? Yeah.
The only Mustang worth owning. Plastigage. Gotta love this stuff. This is plastigage green. I think this is like the finest rating they have. So yeah. Let's go have some fun. So, here we are. We got bearing cap number 1 off, and this little green snowflake speck. You can barely see that. Is plastigage. Now this has a certain squish tolerance. You can barely see that. It's fuzz on front of the camera lens. We stick this on the journal material, right about there. We torque it down to its spec. Then we take the cap back off, and what we got for squish is what we then read on the wrapping. It'll squish out to something like that looks like this, and that tells us exactly what our tolerances is. So I'll save you the trouble of looking at me torquing this down, but I will stick you right there, and I'll see you in a sec. Fuck, that was hard. Focus, you motherfucker. Alright, we got cap torqued down to where it should be, 129 foot-pounds. Hopefully I didn't destroy anything. Hopefully those numbers are right. And fuck, by the way, that's really fucking high torque rate, if you ask me. Alright. So, getting low. Sorry about that. Tap that out. Fuck. I was afraid of that. It stuck to the crank itself. We'll be back. So I'm gonna have to keep this a little shorter because I'm running out of battery. But bearing cap number 1, from what I can see, it's about 150 thou, which seems to be on point, which is the white there on that first little sec. Alright, welcome back. I just found it a rag. Thou shalt use lint-free cloth, in the immortal words of Uncle Bumblefuck. It applies to those gauge blocks, and it's even more true when we're talking about machine surfaces like that. Now, you really can't see it, but I can. Well, actually, you can kind of see it because of the oil. Those 2 spots right there is where the plastigage went, and it's within tolerance, which is great news. So 150 thou of clearance, which is within spec because this is supposed to be within 100 and 300 thou. which is great. So here we go, folks. Time to clean it off. So basically what we're going to do is repeat that process ad nauseum. That oil pump, thankfully, is only bolted on with this bolt and this bolt. That comes right off. And then there's that bolt and another one underneath the pump itself. And I'm assuming it's the same torque rating, so I'm going to go with that. My concern is that the 5/8 socket that I have is absolute ass. So pray for me, will ya?